the top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to wish you or bid you good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Eastern Caribbean islands. I touch my dear fans in Montserrat, over there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as we go all the way north to Jamaica. Quite a lot of fans down there in the area. And don't forget, just across the channel, just across the Narrows over there in Nevis, we say a special good night to everyone who tuned in to Straight Talk, your favorite program. I know there are quite a lot of listeners on the World Wide Web. We have listeners all over the world, so I'm at liberty to say good night. In some cases, I can say good morning, and in other cases, I can say good afternoon, because one of such greetings would be applicable to you, wherever you are, perhaps in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, and certainly there are quite a lot of you all over North America. And so often we have first-time listeners, so I want to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we tried to raise the level of national consciousness. We tried to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patch Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I give kudos to Radio ZIZ for at least joining us on time tonight, and I want to thank them for that, and trust we can continue to do that as well. In the process, I also want to recognize, and I did overlook that on Monday, because we did in fact lost another stalwart, one of our sons of Newtown. We know him as, his right name is Wendell Alfonso Miller. If I tell you who he is, you don't know Mr. Miller. I'm sure you know Hefe. Hefe has gone to the great beyond and was interred this afternoon. We want to extend our condolences once more to his son, Wentworth, the little black boy, as I call him, and his entire family, all his children, Heather Mulcair, Orly, and Ellen. Of course, his grandchildren as well, inclusive of his daughter, his dear daughter, Keisha, who I know very well. Most people know Keisha as well. I just got the update as well on the COVID-19 statistics, and we like to keep you informed in terms of our observations in review. I thought I just saw it. I know I did. And COVID still exists. COVID is still around. As of today, Thursday, the 16th of June, there are some 9 positive cases, 9 confirmed cases as of today. And I always do look at the vaccination rollout rate, and we are doing quite well in first doses. We're just about 79% and 84% just about in the adults, in terms of the 84%, beg your pardon, in terms of the first doses. We look at the children there as well. The goal is to vaccinate some 4,000 children between the ages of 12 and 17 years. We are at the point of 20.2% of first doses and 18.2% to be exact, second doses, I call them, on children between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. So that's our observations in review for tonight. And tonight I want to discuss, it's been a little hot inside here, no fault of yours, it's mine. It's hot, it's silly season, so things are really, really hot all over St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm a little concerned, though, of a particular direction in which our politics seem to have headed, or is still heading in recent times, or a matter of fact, over the past years. I find that our politics in St. Kitts and Nevis have become, what must I say, highly commercialized. I say highly commercialized, not in the context of the billboards and the strips and so on, but really, it's like on the market. And on the market, what is being sold, what will be sold over the next 2 months or so, are votes. You find the buying and selling of votes, and that's, that sometimes to me saddens. And I know there's lots to talk about election bribery and so on. The legislation is there. We hope that we don't have to go down that road again as we went down just 2 years ago in terms of election bribery. But the point I want to make tonight, and I want to implore us all, let us not gamble with our future. This is a serious election, and we have to take it seriously. Let us not gamble with our future. And I can confess and tell you the truth as I normally do. I have gambled before. I played dominoes. We played $1 pass and $3 a pass and so on. Bongo and those guys. My good friend Bongo, my brother Bongo, Selwyn Thompson. I haven't seen you for a while, but you're always in my memory, always in my heart. But I have gambled before. I have played bingo as well. I love bingo. But that was decades ago. But I can say to you that I am not a gambler, but I know many people who do. I don't gamble, and I don't play games in particular with politics. There's some people who jump from pillar to post, as my grandmother would say. Some people, they're here today and they're over there tomorrow. They're like some dogs, excuse the language, who eat their vomit. And I am not going to be one of those dogs who eat their vomit. So I want to really implore you to desist with the silly rumors about your humble servant. Because there are some who do things like this, or said things like this, my street dog family. There are some who said things like this, and it's troubling to hear them today.
Dr. Jude does not have the fortitude. If he cannot win one, there is a word, psychosis, outer reality. If we don't want Dougie,
I'll have to take that back, my street dog family. That, in fact, was an error, and to err is human. I was referring to those who jump from, as my grandmother would say, a pillar to post, and I was referring to this one.
This is not a Labour Party. This is Douglas Poppy. This ain't a Labour Party. If Brecker had to come out of the grave tomorrow, the first thing he would do is slap off Douglas.
Street dog family. And that was then in 2003 or 2013. And they would do things and say things like this as well, my street dog family.
It is my judgment, my humble view, my humble judgment, and the judgment of many, many other criticians and divisions at home and abroad, that he has failed us, all of us, in irredeemable ways. At this juncture, it is my considered view that he's bad for the country.
And the he being referred to, believe it or not, is Douglas. But that was back in 2013, some 9 years ago. My street dog family, would you believe, today, that same individual would say this, or said this.
Sam has endorsed the Labour Party, as have I.
This election is about the future of our nation. What kind of people we would like it to be. What kind of people we would like to be. What kind of country we would like to live in.
Very interesting, my street dog family. But that same individual ate his vomit recently and said this, believe it or not, moving again from one pillar to the post.
I will want to commend, congratulate and compliment the leader of the opposition, Dr. Denzel Douglas, for the outstanding role he has played in helping to carry the party forward and to take the country forward. He has done an excellent job, and in my view is our best post-independence leader.
My straight talk family, some people you don't take seriously. But the fact is, gambling. This is a serious election coming up. It's about our future. And many condone gambling, and we do not want you to gamble with your future. Even some churches today, my straight dog family use bingo and other games as a means of raising money for charitable purposes. Yet there are many conservative Christians who frown upon gambling of any kind, be it lotteries, slot machines, horse racing, or for that matter, flipping a coin. And I understand why. Because the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 16, says, and I quote, "By their fruits you shall know them." But what are the fruits of gambling, you may ask? And two arguments are frequently advanced in favor of gambling, especially the lottery. They advance the argument about generating revenue and creating jobs. However, gambling is prevalent in the USA and many other countries, including our country here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Although Thomas Edmund Dewey, a three-term governor of New York between 1943 and 1955, I think it was, addressed the New York legislature over 70 years ago and said this, and I quote, "The entire history of legalized gambling in this country and abroad shows that it has brought nothing but poverty, crime, and corruption, demoralization of moral and ethical standards, and ultimately a law-living standard and misery for all the people," unquote. Now, research has shown that a gambler can become just as addicted to his or her bewitching pastime as the alcoholic does to his liquor, or the drug addict to his drugs, or to drugs, beg your pardon. As I said, I do not gamble because gambling is like taking a leap in the dark. It is like taking a chance or playing games of chance. And at this critical moment in our history, we just cannot afford to play games with our politics. These are unprecedented times. We are living in a world that is filled with complexity. We are living in a world that is filled with unpredictability. And we are living in a world that is filled with uncertainty. Times like these demand proven, committed leadership. For this reason, we cannot gamble with our future. Let us therefore look carefully at the options that are available to us. A vote for Drew, for example, Dr. Drew, for example, and his Labour colleagues is certainly a vote for Douglas. Drew is a proven loser. Even at his party caucus, Dr. Drew commanded a minority of just 45% of the comrades and is expressed by the rank and file of Labour as a loser.
Who proved himself for 20 years. Wrong with us that we are going to choose a proven loser to now lead us into victory. We are all bipolar. The Jew does not have the fortitude to motivate 8 men to win the government if he cannot win one. There is a word, psychosis, outer reality. If we don't want Dougie, who proved himself for 20 years and still is a winner, what is wrong with us that we are going to choose a proven loser to now lead us into victory? We are all bipolar.
Interesting perspective. We are all bipolar. But Douglas, in the meanwhile, on the current campaign trail, Douglas has labeled himself as simply the best. Simply the best. Douglas is no loser, my Straight Talk family. He has labeled himself, as I said, as simply the best.
You're gonna help me to welcome to the podium. See, number six, Llewellyn Douglas.
Wow! Simply the best! Better than all the rest! It's only one edition of Douglas. Limited and soul edition is right here before you today.
You heard it for yourself. Douglas, on his current campaign trail, is lauding himself as being simply the best. So a vote for Dr. Joe, or for anyone on that Labour platform for that matter, is a vote for Douglas. He is the leader. Going across the Narrows, I don't know how many of us recalled that before the 2020 elections, many of us, in fact, may have heard this, but may not have paid serious attention to the veiled threat of Mark Brantley when he pompously declared in Barbados that he was going to be the kingmaker. How many of us remembered this?
I bring you, of course, greetings and well wishes. At this point in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. Currently, we hold a delicate balance of power, with our seats contributed to create and sustain in office the Team Unity government, which has led St. Kitts and Nevis since February of 2015. An election, ladies and gentlemen, looms now in St. Kitts and Nevis. I recognize that my every word here will be consumed at home. Some will digest and some will get indigestion. But let me be clear. The CCM will win all the seats that we contest. This party, the Concerned Citizens Movement, has been and shall remain firmly in the role of kingmaker. For all who have ears to hear, let them hear.
And lots of us did not pay much attention to that boast. The people in the Federation underestimated the insidious and disruptive character of Mark Brantley, the devout secessionist. Mark Brantley, as a leader, is vain and bitter, and he acts like a little boy in a big man's trousers.
You see this watch here? I my own money. I see them blue suede shoes here? I buy them from my own money. Mark Brantley never begged no watch and no shoe from nobody yet. And that's why they're vexed with me. Because if you don't like me, that is okay. And you know why they don't like me? Because my suit look good and my jacket can button.
My Straight Talk family, this surely cannot be the kind of leadership the country needs at this moment in time. This cannot be an option for us. We cannot gamble with this leader. His poor performance as Premier of Nevis leaves a lot to be desired. Since 2017, Mark Brantley has never, underlined, never balanced an NIA budget. This is what he reported to the NIA legislature just in December of 2021, his budget for 2022.
The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year, we are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program.
My Straight Talk family, did you hear that for yourselves? He projected recurrent expenditure of $229 million. But he projected collecting $133 million. He expected to be augmented by a $45 million as a share of the CBI revenue. So in fact, Mark Brantley has presented a $98 million deficit in the budget. Out of that $229 million budget, $189 million is recurrent revenue for his salaries, his wages, and so on. And some $43 million of that is for capital expenditure. But to recognize, Mark Brantley and his NIA cannot even finish his capital projects. Look at the hospital. Because Mark Brantley does not understand, after so many years in the federal government and as premier, he does not understand how government works. Mark Brantley as a tip. You cannot have a capital project if you do not have a budget. If there's no money, Mark Brantley, how can you have a project? First of all, you must establish your source of funding. And in government, there are only three sources generally. You either get it from the treasury, the people's money, which is revenue, or you get a grant. But grant funding is something of the past all over the world, and for us who have graduated, in fact, as a high-income country. Or a loan. But how would you get a loan, my Straight Talk family? How could he? Because, in fact, his debt is near $500 million.
We see now where Nevis is fully dependent. Did you ever see that on the NRP? Not on the NRP.
Mr. President, I wish to report that the total debt for the central government as of October 31st, 2021 stood at $440.1 million.
440 and over million dollars, heading hard to $500 million. And we understand that he do not pay his debt owed to the National Bank, for example. Under Mark Brantley as premier, increments for his civil servants are deferred. They have frozen their increments in these difficult times. Travel allowance for his traveling officers have been cut by 50%, even in spite of the increase of gasoline from the pumps. He has deferred promotion of officers or upgrade in salaries. Mark Brantley, in a nutshell, has mashed up the Nevisian economy. He has oversight at present of a failed state, or he will have oversight of a failed state if it continues with Mark Brantley. He has also mashed up team unity, and thus cannot be considered for leadership in these times. Nevis, and by extension the Federation, can perhaps invest some hope in the new leader of the the NRP, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, my Straight Talk family.
You would agree with me when I say, as the most disruptive, least productive, and most self-aggrandizing government. And now they have lost their way. When you look at the relationship between the CCM-led NIA and the federal government, we must recognize that this is the worst relationship that we have seen between the NIA and the federal government. And so I would say to you tonight, the future of Nevis depends squarely on the decisions that you take and how you vote on election day. See now where Nevis is fully dependent on the federal government to pay civil servants. Did you ever see that on the NRP? Not on the NRP. You would agree with me when I say CCM would be recorded in history as the most disruptive, least productive, and most self-aggrandizing government.
And who is the leader of CCM? Most disruptive, unproductive, undermining, and not good for the country or the federation. The other leader, Sean Richards, on the other hand, has failed all of us. He has failed us all. He has failed his constituency, and most of all, he has failed his country. Because Sean Richards, in fact, has put himself above his country. And for months, Sean refused to go to the cabinet.
The last thing I was told is that the report has been altered and my name has been removed from the report. I went to cabinet and I complained about it again because I said I was told that my name has been removed from the report. But based on reliable information, my name still included in the police report. And I took a decision there and then that until this matter is cleared up, I am not coming back to any cabinet meeting.
Self above country, my Straight Talk family. The name of Sean Richards has also been embroiled for months in rampant corruption.
They went down UDC, they tried to put my name in something that I didn't know anything about. The premier of Tatola got himself in some issues, a friend of mine. They tried to associate me with it. They say, how I have paid off for my house in Crabble. Yes, I have paid off for my house in Crabble. I have a villa that I purchased over at Horizons. I borrowed the money from Horizon Bank, from Republic Bank to pay for it. I have a mortgage that I pay of over $6,300 a month in respect of the villa. I have piece of land I purchased over Half Moon. That's why I got all kind of vehicles. I ain't got thing to hide. That's why I got accounts all over the place.
Well, Sean Richards has addressed some of the issues, but he has skillfully avoided some others. Sean Richards still has to address his relationship with Halley Isles and the KI Homes development. What does Sean Richards know about the development of 6 acres of land by KI Homes? Sean Richards has not addressed the Old Road Bay project and the 36 lights required for the project, which were to be installed by Skelec and which has been delayed for nigh 3 months. Rock and Dirt, the contractor, has been instructed to erect the foundations for these lights. However, they have been given only 11 sets of bolts for the light poles. And for more than 3 months, no further work can be done by the contractor Rock and Dirt, as all the bolts for the 25 lights cannot be supplied, despite the assurance by the chairman and the general manager, both of Skellig. The assurance that lights and bolts were available since October of last year. The unanswered question for Sean Richards still is, where are the 25 lights and 100 bolts, which are approximately 3 feet long, for the foundation, which are causing over 3 months of delay in completing the lighting for the roads, and who is accountable for the cost of the delay? Are these the same lights at the Magnolia residences and condominiums being developed by KI Homes? That's the question that Sean Richards still has to answer. Regarding the lights at Sandy Point, Sean Richards, you said this.
We had a play field without lights. And so in the first term, you got lights on the play field. Some of you complained that the lights were not adequate. And during this, the second term, I ensured that 2 additional light poles were added to the play field.
My Straight Dog family, now no one has questioned whether the lights at the Sandy Point playfield were adequate or not, or whether adequate lights should or should not be on the playfield instead. It is the cost of those 2 lights, 2 poles and lights, that is being questioned, Sean. And the question is, Sean Richards, why Skellig had to provide these 2 additional light poles, and why they cost Skellig $1 million? That's the question we're asking. The first term, the government put 4 light poles that came from Warner Park for less money, and 6 poles at Keon for the cost of $1.6 million for 6 poles. $1.6 million. For 2 light poles, Sean, it cost Skellig $1 million. Questions need to be answered. The failure of Sean Richards to absent himself from cabinet for months is more than enough to disqualify him from a leadership role in this country. Sean Richards will be remembered for the plethora, the abundance of perceived accusations of impropriety or corruption that he has not responded to, except to hold a Bible in his hand in his failed attempt to mamagai people. Sean tried to mamagai the country when he held this Bible in his hand.
There is a Bible here on my desk that every single thing that I am saying, that I, Sean K. Richards, is saying is the whole truth and absolutely nothing but the truth. I swear on this Bible today that what I am saying is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Well, he mama guides some people, but not all. My straight dog family, we just cannot gamble with the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. When we go to the polls sooner, I believe, rather than later, we cannot vote for the gang of 6 who were rightly fired by Prime Minister Harris. Has Mark Brantley given an account for the $400 million sent over to Nevis by Prime Minister Harris? Can the country trust this secessionist Mark Brantley? Mark Brantley has taken the Nevis economy to the brink of collapse. We need to keep Mark Brantley as far as possible from the Ministry of Finance, from the people's money, and of course, the federal parliament. St. Kitts, my Straight Talk family, Straight Talk as well is checking the veracity, the truth of a story that has recently come to hand regarding Lindsey Grant and John L. Powell, two of the Gang of Six, that they were cited in a criminal court case for fraudulent conversion in the matter regarding the misappropriation of US $460,000 received from their client. We understand that that criminal case has been traversed into the November assizes. Straight Talk is still checking that, my Straight Talk, my family. But remember this, even reported by this man.
It is a matter that is of nobody, and I'm referring to the case that the man Tanzania Tobing Tanzil brought. Here's what the judge said. The court has given judgment in this matter that the defendants breached their fiduciary duty and or their duty of trust owed to the claimant as the solicitor or escrow agents, and or they acted fraudulently in receiving and or misappropriated funds, in using and or failing to account for the sum of $460,000 US. There is a finding by and a judgment of this court that the defendants, as attorneys at law, have misappropriated monies belonging to their former client.
My Straight Dog family, we are going to follow that case, that criminal case we understand that's before the court in terms of fraudulent conversion by these two former members of the Team Unity administration. But my Straight Dog family, as mentioned earlier, a vote for Dr. Drew and his colleagues is a vote for Dr. Douglas. And my Straight Dog family, I want us to take the advice from the man on the street. And one street man said this.
This is James Davis speaking. Now, due to the fact of certain circumstances, you must give, you must learn to give, and you must learn to take. People, me is not a scholar. Me is a street boy. But if I do a crime and so forth, and I do things, bad things to people, why should I come and blame you, who ain't do nothing at all? What if you're bad from your barn, and you're bad from your smile, and different things like this, and you're going on and boasting in front of school children, between my grandchildren and not to go to school, and different things like this here. And if you're telling yourself that you're bad, and you're going and reading this thing into the school, and different things like this here, what do you think will end up happening? The children don't come out with the same badness.
Sound rational, my Straight Dog family. The badness of Denzel Douglas. We must ask ourselves, has he changed?
Be the damn forward days. What was done there? With a deal with them. Let me not go down there, you see, because you see, there's a badness out of style.
Has Douglas changed? Ask yourselves the pertinent questions, my Straight Talk family, and you fill in the blanks, according to my dear brother and friend who said this.
I have but 3 questions to ask you. Which is preferable? A nation of deficits or a nation of surpluses? Multiple and successive surpluses for qualification. Which is preferable, a government led by a self-proclaimed, you could call him a gangster or a scamp, because the term bad from since a born is generic. You fill in the blanks. Or a government of peacemakers that brought peace to a troubled land. Blessed are the peacemakers, For they shall be called the children of God, and God well knows how to take care of his own. But 3 questions to ask you. Which is preferable? A nation of deficits or a nation of surpluses? Multiple and successive surpluses for qualification. Which is preferable, a government led by a self-proclaimed, you could call him a gangster or a scamp, because the term bad from since are born is generic. You fill in the blanks.
Yes, my straight talk family, fill in the blanks. My people, the road ahead will be extremely difficult and will need strong, bold, decisive, tested, and matured leadership. We cannot gamble with the future, my straight talk family.
I ask you not to gamble with your future, not to gamble with St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us move forward with leadership that has worked for you, that leadership that is committed to all the people and all our residents. I ask you not to gamble with your future, not to gamble with St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us move forward with leadership that has worked for you, that leadership that is committed to all the people and all our residents.
My straight talk family, this is not the time to gamble with our future. This is not the time to gamble with St. Kitts and Nevis. At this critical moment in our federation's history, can we afford to play games? Can we afford to gamble with our politics? This is my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. So let me hear from you, as your voice is critical in shaping our future as we go into elections. A simple question. As this critical moment in our federation's history, can we afford to play games? Can we afford to gamble with our politics? I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. When I do so, and I'll do so just now, my straight dog family, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us in the process try, in saying and doing those things, let us be fair to all concerned. And in the process, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, it's 8:47. I go to the lines and take my first caller for the night. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Patrick. Hope all is well, sir.
I am peaceful, my brother. All is well. Yourself?
Okay, good. Denzel get into that integrity meeting they had in Singers like 2 weeks ago. I saw the guy in there damn near fainted. I was, when I saw him there, I was shocked. What a joke. I was this so-called thing. The Caribbean is screwed up. But I was surprised. Who's going to be at the next integrity meeting? Sean? Who's next? This is crazy. No, Patches, who hired Paul Letterland for that job back there by the Little Waldwin? Was it Brantley or you guys? There's a reason why you asked this question. So maybe you can make a note of that. I want to know higher.
I stand to be corrected, but I think the chairperson of the commission is appointed by the Governor General. I think that's...
so you mean Paul Letterland was appointed by the Governor General?
I stand to be corrected, but the government appoints one, the opposition appoints another, And the Governor General, I believe, appoints the chair. I stand corrected.
When you guys get back in there, this thing has to get going. Okay? Integrity in public. Here I am thinking, Harris, I've come here many times and complained about this. Those guys, they remain there quiet like a church mouse. The six guys, the 666, not a word out to them, no water here. But Harris going to get it straightened out. I just wanted to know why, but there's a reason why I asked that. Hopefully, I was hoping that PLP would have won the girl from Sandy Point, Wendy. Her name is very smart. And she would have taken it away like that. One smart and patriotic person as a Hamilton, the AG, Byron, true patriots and mature. So you see what I started. They're true patriots. Brantley, that shameless tribalist, and these other 666 codes. 666, you know what 666 means, right? Cohort will bring big time instability to St. Kitts Nevis. Okay. Harris will bring stability. Okay, this is what it figure out. And this is going to determine the character of the people. If they put one of those people in there, especially Brantley, then we can see, you all going to come back to Haiti. Harris should save you all from Haiti with that boy Denzi last time. But this is what it is. These guys are no good. By the way, I didn't know Sean was this well off. I thought the boy was poor. Oh, Jesus God, until I started hearing you, I was shocked. Almost faith. Now, I'm a student of Shakespeare, and I'm going to write it down too, as I suspect you are. And Brantley and Sean remind me of Iago and Rodrigo in Othello. You know about Othello, right?
I did.
Harris is Othello, of course. But these two guys, Iago and Rodrigo, what people? Oh Jesus! Anybody can read Othello and you read. Now, one last thing, Patrick. Who's gonna mentor all these young people from those so-called parties? Because they'll just as soon mash everything up, like the young talks are doing right now. Who have St. Kitts and Nevis in a country. St. Kitts and Nevis is a mess right now. You know? Anyhow, you're gonna have to be playing a big part with unity once you get back in there. Because the younger people too, they don't give a crap about nothing. They don't give a crap about God. And I mean 95% God or country. They'll mash the whole thing up. The whole kit and caboodle is going to get mashed up to smithereens. Okay? But let me tell you something. They will mash everything up. You know how much murderers have walked in the street of St. Kitts? Harris had to stop that. And I tell you why you respect Harris. Because St. Kitts was becoming another Haiti on the Douglas, another Mugabe. And these people attacking the governor. Yes, why are they attacking that man? That man is following the law. They think this is Bush Africa where you just go and mash up everything. No.
Okay.
The British have been dealing with this thing for 400 years or more. So this is what it is. But boy, Sean shocked me. With Brantley too, I know he's always boasting. But that boy, let them put them in and they will find out what happened. But like I said, thank God for people like you. And it's a mess. And you all have to make the laws that people get locked up when they do all these wickedness. That's it. Have a good day and God bless you. Take care, buddy.
Thank you as well. Have yourself a good night as well. It's 7 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open. Remember the numbers again: 646-829-6672 and or 663-6672. That's the local number. And we are asking you, and we are in the process as well warning you not to gamble with the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have seen the performance of the Gang of Six in particular. And I want to make the point one more time, because I saw a good friend of mine of over 30 years pass me straight today. I said good morning, and he said absolutely nothing. I'm not mad with him. I'm not mad with him, but I know he is upset because I speak the things I speak about his leader. Now, I have no problem whatsoever with the membership and friends of the People's Action Movement. I have no problem whatsoever with the membership of the CCM, the Concerned Citizens Movement. I have no problem whatsoever as well with the membership of the comrades of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. My problem is with your leadership, and I'm saying to you, your leadership is bad for the parties and bad for the country. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Patrice, good night. Good night, Patrice.
Good night, my dear. That sounds like the warrior from the east.
Yes, Patrice, good night. I just want to tell everybody, this is me. Whenever you go out to vote, please go and vote for PLP. Timothy Harris served well. He served some and he voted Reserve Labour. He served the two party well. And some people has no fear. Because today I listened to a talk show this morning and I hear Big Lois saying something. That's the same Big Lois who were telling Mark Brantley and Mr. Richards to call a motion of no confidence on the Prime Minister. Okay? All the time they're saying they're going to mash up the unity. And now he do it. I thought he would have been supporting Mr. Richards. This man he ain't begging people to vote for Mr. Joe because Mr. Joe is the best person to run this country. That is how these people dangerous and you can't hold on them. No, they don't mash up the party because they don't want the man to become the Prime Minister. They do not want him to be the Prime Minister. So right now, he should have known they're supporting the man when he don't push him to tell he and Mark to call the motion. So now, they're just making fun of people. You know? So I want to tell everybody, they don't mash it up, go out there and support PLP. Some people has no fear. He do it already, Timothy, and he'll do it again. Okay? And that is one more thing. You want to know what Nevis was saying? Oh, they share money. Take their money and vote them out. Now I hear they said they're going to share food hamper. $200 a month for everybody. So that's the same thing too. Take the food hamper and vote them out. And yeah, because this is ridiculous. Now you're going to share no because election coming and you find that your crowd falling apart. You're coming with a food hamper. We take the food hamper and vote them out. He said he's going to give it to 3 months. Well, you never did it all the time. Well, you never do it all the time. If they want to boil people, they're talking about the Prime Minister spending money with this election. Every party do that election when they're in opposition, yes, Dano. They had the same state, they got a shot, they got a visa, and they got everything. So all of them do that. So you left with the question now, where the opposition them getting money to run the campaign. Because it's no different. It's the same t-shirt, the same visa, same stage. Everybody doing the same thing. You know, so people take sleep and remember that. Remember when he had the crime all over half Mumbai when people houses used to be breaking? Who done that? Who stopped that? Timothy Harris. Okay, he put no security over there. So I could leave out your house, go to work and come back. I mean, it's a safe house. I remember that. He ain't had nobody right now to take care of the country like Timothy Harris. And if Mr. Richard, the way he might have hit to so much, if all of them force him out, he should have let it to someone he court and see how it work out. But all of them now was putting him up to call the motion and all of them now against him, especially Big Lies. He was the most important because every minute they were needed by Mark. And now where they put people in, okay, they're going right back where they was. I'm sorry to say, but they're going back where they was because they should have waited and have a little patience. Mark Banky now, somebody say he said, if people think he took it, he know why him to be in a Prime Minister. So that is anything else I have to say. All
Thank
that.
you. Thank
okay?
you. Thank you.
For a young party, I think PLP doing well. This is a new party. And I please give him an chance. Please. He done well. He served well.
Okay.
Some people, I don't be ungrateful. That's it. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for your intervention, my dear. And yes, the PLP officially opened its campaign office just a few days ago. And the PLP would officially launch its campaign on Saturday, my Straight Talk family. Let us go back to the lines and take this caller. Caller, you are live. It's 1 before 9 o'clock. Yes, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Patches.
How is the People's King? Good evening.
Yeah, first I want to congratulate the caller just now, which speeches to you just now, because she is saying the most important.
Rockefeller.
Sorry, sir. Yes, sorry. Yeah. I want to congratulate the caller just now, the lady who just called in, because she is saying the right things and she know what she is saying. And nobody will be victimized under this government. This new government that we have. It's a young party, and everybody know that it's young. But the most successful party will enter in politics in the Caribbean on the whole. Patches, I want to give my condolences to Hefe and his family and his brothers, his comrades, his sisters and everybody, his children and everything. Everybody in my book Benton anyway. And my heart goes out to the family. But there's one thing I want to say, and what is disturbing me is to see we living in democracy and everybody have rights. But I don't think nobody in the world have no right to disrespect the Governor General every day on the radio and the Prime Minister and also you Patches, and it goes on, and everybody who talk anything about PLP, there is a victim of this guy. And all those lawyers and all those politicians who are supporting him, what sweet me, is to see now he turned back round and Dwyer. And Dwyer was the best thing. So all them others, before they turn to him and tell him, look, respect the governor and the Prime Minister, don't care where you turn it. The man's still the Prime Minister, and he's going to be the Prime Minister for another 10 years, and maybe 20 years. He's going to be the Prime Minister. But you cannot disrespect the man every day on the radio, and those radio stations who grab him to take $1 or $2. It's blood money they're taking. Okay? Patches, I will be back later with some comments.
Thank you very much for your intervention, my Straight Talk family. I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live, my dear brother.
Okay, good evening, Patrice.
How about thou tonight?
I'm good, man, I'm good. Patrice, when I hear those information that you read out tonight and play them sound bites, they are eyebrow raising,
Yes, they should be.
No, yeah, all the people said that a man is known by the company he keeps.
Sure.
We had a native Sinclair here, a good friend of mine, and he went away when he was a little boy. Hold on, just on them got a bit, man. That's it too hard out there. So anyway, one night he met me and he said, he said, Vinci, you was my idol when you were in the park racing bike, I said, well, I expected that, man. So I shake hand and I tell him, but please to see how you pull yourself together and you come a big man. And that man, however he own his living, If he buy a trash house, they label him and say his money was illegal. But now they got the what you call money laundering business going on here. As big as the moon when it's full. They're hiding it, they ain't talking about it. When I got to compare some people salary what they get in a month time. I now hear that they purchase this condo and the load of acres of land and that kind of thing. You have to associate that kind of money there with good friends. Because both of us are the fact together. And a good friend in the Caribbean, we all know where he is right now for money laundering. Money laundering, not ganja, but money laundering. So work out your max and your sums and your arithmetic from there. How you get them kind of money there to pay for this kind of land when your salary is only X amount, so way down. But anyway, enough of here and that. When one wants to be a leader, they have to have a good track record. People make mistakes, and some of them willfully commit the mistakes. One man had 3 strikes. He get caught over Marriott in a room, making deal, and he wants to be the leader of a country and doing that. And then he come back now again and fraudulently holding on money for people with the property. That's another fault against him. And then the last lot, which was he was supposed to come victorious, he won. And he committed crime up there. You making law. And then the people who are supposed to enforce the law, they come and they're enforcing the law. And because you believe you get rid 2, you go get rid 3, and you're a government minister, and you're going to wrap up the law enforcers. Blessed are the peacemakers, which are the police. Where is his respect? So when he going to tell the police, I'll rat you up, what message are you sending to those little boys on the street who intend to go the negative way? They're going to say, oh, if a minister could do that, I can do it. Anyway, Patrick, I'll come back and forget another do. Thank you very much. So long.
Thank you for your input, my brother. You asked a question about the monies, but I think what is what someone said to me, perhaps he's eating grass, so he eats grass and invests his money in property and land. It's 9:07. My Stray Dog family, I am appealing to you. I am imploring you. Let us not gamble with our future. We have looked at the leaders. Dr. Drew, no experience at all, has not to date proved his electability. Mark Brantley, a devout secessionist, no doubt about that, he is. He never intended or wanted the unity to work. It's obvious. Sean Richards, wow, he still has a lot of questions to answer. His practices are questionable. His corrupt practices, or perceived corrupt practices, are questionable. We spoke of many things. I did not speak of the ark he built for Noah. Noah in our Bible built an ark. We are told, almost a whole century, 100 years. But in 2 years, Sean Richards built an ark for Noah. Skellig paid for the building of that ark, costing Skellig some $10,000 per month. $10,000. You understand that UDC had to be a part of that as well, in the same amount of $10,000. Noah got his ark built by his friend Sean. Skellig's reserve was plundered. $31 million seem to have just gone poof, according to Douglas. Poof, in the wind. Where has all that money gone? When the government now has to bail out Skellig. Skellig owes PDV over $17 million for fuel. It owes Delta, we understand, another $11 million. What was Sean doing in Skellig? When Skellig was spending so much money, underground lane of underground cable, $3 million. A $20 million project inflated to $30 million, we are told. And that was only phase one of that project. Those guys were on for something interesting. A guard hut, estimated at $50,000, built for $227,000, and he said he don't know. He has a constitutional duty to know as the minister, my straight-up family. And these are the issues we ought to look at when we are determining, when we are deciding the leadership of this country. Timothy Harris has been tried, he has been tested and tried, and he has done wonders for this country. We inherited a country with a debt to GDP of nigh 200%. A $2 billion debt. No matter what you hear the former Prime Minister speak about leaving $900,000 in the Treasury. It's like Scasper. Scasper had a operational profit at the expense of a rundown infrastructure and equipment. So when Douglas talked about leaving $200,000 or $900,000 in the Treasury, how much people he owed? He owed Petrocarib over $200,000, US dollars at that, which the Team Unity administration had to negotiate, to liquidate, to pay off over a period of 5 years. And I believe they are still paying. I stand to be corrected. So what is he talking about? Do not believe them, my straight talk family. So this is it. You do not take the risk. Do not gamble with our future. Crime. We were once labeled the murder capital of the world. The murder capital of the world. Under Douglas, some 35 murders in 1 year. 35. Sometimes I wonder what has happened all of a sudden. We don't hear a thing about murders and we don't hear a thing about homicides. People are now at peace. Peace. My straight talk family. COVID-19, the management of COVID-19 was highly criticized. When Prime Minister Harris introduced his life force strategy and shut down the country like all other countries were shut down because of a pandemic that the world has never seen, did not see in over a century, over 100 years. And where we are today, coming back to normalcy, thanks to the astute leadership of Prime Minister Harris. My straight talk family, we cannot afford to gamble with our future. We cannot at all gamble with our future. My straight talk family, let us not gamble with our future. And as I said before, I am not a gambler, but I know many people who do. And we cannot gamble with our politics. We cannot play games with our politics. Do not listen to those folks who jump from pillar to post. And gambling is all over. Even in some liberal churches today, they play bingo and other games as a means of raising money for charitable purposes. But in the conservative churches, they frown upon gambling of any kind, be it lotteries, slot machines, horse racing, or flipping a coin, for example. And I understand why. I understand why. Because the good book in the Gospel of Matthew says, by their fruits you shall know them. But what are the fruits of gambling? There are arguments advanced frequently in favor of gambling. Generation of revenue, creation of jobs are two of the arguments advanced. And gambling is prevalent all over, in the USA, in many other countries around the world, including St. Kitts and Nevis. But I recall, and I mentioned earlier, Thomas Edmund Dewey, a three-term governor of New York, who said this during an address to the New York legislature some 70 years ago. Very interesting quote. The entire history of legalized gambling in this country and abroad, he said, shows that it has brought nothing but poverty, crime, and corruption, demoralization of moral and ethical standards, and ultimately a lower living standard and misery for all people. Let us not gamble with our politics. Let us not gamble with our future. Our standard of living has been raised. Our people, in terms of their social assistance, are now happier. The poverty alleviation program is one thing that makes people happy. Research has shown that the gambler can become just as addicted to his or her bewitching pastime as the alcoholic does to his liquor or to the drug addict to drugs. I do not gamble because gambling is like taking a leap in the dark. We cannot take a leap in the dark with our next 5 years, because to go back to Mark Brantley or to include Mark Brantley or Sean Richards or, God forbid, Lindsey Grant or Jonel Powell, Alexis Jeffers and Eric Evelyn is like taking a leap in the dark. We don't know what they will do or what they can do. Well, we know what they can do. They can mash up Team Unity, because they did. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Are you hearing me, caller? Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Yes, we know what they can do. They can mash up the country. The country asks for a united group. The country got a united group. For 5 years, everything was well. Progress in the country. Peace in the country. Debt reduced. The rule of law come to the fore. Yes, all things were not achieved in 5 years. But what? But what? We will achieve if we get the right people back into government. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Patrice, I am back here. Patrice, Jesus was looking for 12 men, 12 chosen men, and he got them. And out of that 12, he know one of them would have betrayed him. And he know that same one here would have sold him for 30 pieces of silver. That is Judas. Because Judas was the treasurer. And when this, the unity construct that was there, when they were preparing to form that, they all know in the heart that they had grudge, hatred, envy, and everything that is bad against Dr. Harris. Even though all of them decided and they can come to one conclusion, that he was the most experienced person among the group to take the lead to run the country. And every time they get a chance and the money they pay and everything, how the country running good, when he sweep them, you hear all of them commending and praising up the Prime Minister for the good man he is and the good leadership he has been distributing to the Federation and the world. But in the heart, they're coping till they catch him where he can. When he's sleeping, then they cut his strength. Just like how Elijah did to Samson. So all when they went over Half Moon Bay, Mark Brantley, the secessionist, he was the leader of the bull ring. When they come down and all of them don't plan, they're going over Half Moon, go get a meeting, what are they going to do with Dr. Harris? He walk out. Dr. Harris is plenty much smarter than them, and he's brighter than them, and they can't cut him down because his God put it here, and his God directing he and controlling he. So we know, I am not two surprised, not three surprised, you know, because them they were talking to sweet, and they always say, if everybody in the world love that woman there, something wrong. And if everybody in the world love the man there, something wrong. Because when a man can tell he woman, don't let a man watch her and kind of shopping, he think only he wants she. That is the kind of example I was just talking to about love. So me and disappointed, but I'm telling the people, look at those who want to take away the little money that you have to pay your bill, pay your light bill, eat something, and you got something to put up. Those who want to come in, who say the name PAM, PAFM, they said when they come in, all what kind of allowance and assistance you all are getting from the government, which is led by Dr. Timothy Harris, they said they're going to done with that. And anybody going to take food out of your mouth, they're sending you to the cemetery with speed. So be careful, do not go and waste your vote when you all go to vote. Remember the government and the leader who helping you all. He saved a lot of you from getting gunned down with the peace program. Remember that, don't let them come and fool and bribe you with no foolishness and tell you about they are the best. They were there, what they have to show. But selfishness, who saved you all from getting wet in the house? Got to move your bed and put bucket to catch water. Who do that? Dr. Harris' leadership. He did that. Do not forget, do not turn ungrateful. Patriots, I will let somebody else come in because I'm sure other people have greater issues than them there. Okay, let me say this last one before I go quick. We all know where he get money from, Libya. Libya money was blood money. And then when they're done with the sugar cane cutting, they rob the workers out of their rightfully earned money. And then they call Mr. Brush if you're brushing and send him to Bahamas with a suitcase of money. That cannot be right.
Okay.
That is what they did. And then they went and get a passport from Dominica and they said they had it and well had it. And then they get caught up in England, up in Gatwick Airport, hiding money in the sleeve of the jacket. And that money was to come down here for 2019 what they call the campaign fund. That was the purpose of it. But anyway, Tajili, have a good night. Thank you very much.
Good night as well, my Stray Dog family. Thanks for your intervention. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Hello, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just want to say to the Federation, right? Let us give God thanks for those bountiful years under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris. And we ask for his continued guidance for the future. Now, the people of this federation must be reminded that when Denzel Douglas fired Dr. Harris from his cabinet, Denzel Douglas went on the radio station and castigated Dr. Harris. He kept political meetings and he vilified Dr. Harris. A couple of months later, Dr. Harris occupied the chair where Denzel Douglas was sitting when they fired him. That is spirituality. Dr. Harris' first 5 years in office was a resounding success. That is spirituality. It was spirituality that caused those two political hypocrites to open rebellion, that the people can elect decent, God-fearing people to government. Now, I want also to congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, for his carefully selected team of young, talented, and resourceful people to work with him on the way forward in nation building. I am looking forward for the people of the Federation to show their appreciation of his comprehensive leadership by going to the polls in their numbers and giving him a strong mandate to govern. In this troubled world, when we are supposed to be united, we are deeply politically divided. The songwriter said, our country is in disharmony, separated politically. We must ask Jehovah God for his continued guidance and pray that those young people coming will have spirituality to guide them for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Well said. And yes, we ought to embrace spirituality, and as opposed to holding on to the material and or those physical things. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
No way, you can't gamble with none of them.
No, you can't.
If they don't want the government and don't want to work under them, what? Mr. Liburd, good night. How are you? Thank God for my still life. I want to tell the Sunday pastor, and from Monday to Saturday, using the Prime Minister and Miss Phipps. And who else he could get his mouth on? Think he sound good? Is who like him glad to listen to him? Don't call my name. Even good or bad, every day people meeting me, asking me what I do, the crazy pastor. It's not me alone name so, but it's he, it's me, he mean. The Prime Minister right to call me name. Only he I see for what I went through with Labour, and they're still there. The Prime Minister helped him too. Nowhere in the world you could abuse a Prime Minister. If he called my name, what's that to do with he and the rest? He knows past, and the 10 man in one would not stand for it. He and others, but it's because of Timothy. I'll be back. Thanks.
Thank you. Sounds like Alice in Wonderland. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live at 9:27. Caller.
And none of these politicians who he say he representing, are saying nothing towards him and allowing him to disrespect the governor and the prime minister like that. And anybody that say anything and is not in his favor, they get the same cussing and abusing. You understand me? And then things can't be right, Patrick. This thing got to come to an end. I am not as strong as before, but don't rule me out. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. I'm afraid I don't know how we get up and absorb the nonsense that's been spewed at that time in the morning in particular. At that time in the morning, you should be reading your Bible, meditating, and thanking God for taking you through the night, and for at least showing you the morning light. Well, I'm a PAM over 50 years. Reads this message. I'll get back to that. But caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, me again. Mr. Liburd, I went Molyneux School, teach by Washi, William, and the nuns. May their soul rest peacefully. I did not wait until I old to call big words, names, and explain nothing. I know them long time. If you don't stop calling name, I go down which party be as usual. If the Prime Minister helps them, they don't wait until he gets the first. So he did not ask them to take him. It's the good he was coming with. What a Tuesday night. You always hear it's not the first good, better, best, another issue. So if they go to make up good for them, nobody call them fast the fast. Look, no PNP going to listen them. Same old story. They could try all they want. It's not 93. Mr. Liburd, I have some friends away. When they hear me, I must keep off the radio. They not pay nothing for me. They see and know the good doing. They could call too because they're in the opposition. They never one time ask me how I am getting through. I need help. If I need help, none of them. And one coming to take me to vote. Get home safely.
Thank you very much. That always sounds like Alice in Wonderland. Good to hear from my good friend who writes, well, I'm a PAM over 50 years. My good friend Flash. Was PAM in unity? We remain PAM. Oh, good night, everyone. Patches, you are my longtime friend. You will remain my friend, and may the best team win. That's what friends are for, and that's how our friends should relate to each other. Yes, we have our own views, and I, again, mean no disrespect to my friends, my PAM friends, but I believe that right now, the People's Action Movement has bad leadership and a team that has a stench that does not smell good. A man with 3 strikes, as someone said. How many more strikes would you give that man? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
That is, good night.
How are you, my dear brother? Jam down.
I'm fine. That is, I want to congratulate Jacqueline. She's so right. But I want to take 2 seconds from me time. Doctor, how you get it do? Doctor, how you get it do? Fella is great. He's great. And the young people ain't going to fail him. Because me ain't going to fail Dr. Harris. According to my good friend over in East Bastia Baptist, he did a superb job in the first five years. He did such a great job. And then, you can remember 2016 convention of PAM. When a young man get up and say, the next time around, the People's Action Movement going to need all
It's
long time they're planning it. Some things they go with you tongue. And they walk the trap against you patches. I don't give them up a long time. Maybe bigger than a lot of them. When Tom calls on me, you can't see none of them. Me never say they're gonna time yet. I always there for them, but it's wicked, they're wicked. That's why people like me leave them, because they're bad. They're just all about themselves. All about themselves. Up in the cemetery with Sydney Morris and Massacre. They're up in the cemetery. Have a good night, Patches. Jacqueline, big up yourself when I leave Timothy. Who feels it knows it, Lord.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Always so passionate. I'm down. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello,
yes, Mr. Liburd. Good night.
Good night, my brother.
How are you, sir?
I am peaceful. What's that in your background there?
Yeah, a shop. Let's go to me. A shop.
Shop, okay. What's on your mind tonight? Are you gonna gamble with your future?
Me, no, I can't gamble with future. The future done straight with Timothy.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to ask a question. What this sport and Xanter issue? Anybody liable to go down there? It's open to certain people.
When you say go down there, what you mean?
Because yesterday I was confronted by the person who in charge, the CEO, and tell me if I have to call up Shimim, she'll give me a lawyer. So I would like to know if I can go down there to speak to someone.
It's a public place.
Or whatever. It's a public place.
Of course it is a public place.
But if I come out here, I don't call Shimim. So what is her problem?
Oh. When you say go down there, you went to the office?
No, I don't go to the office. I have no call in the office. I just go and see.
Anybody can walk around Port Zante. It's a public place. The tourists do, why can't you?
Yeah, I could just go and speak to a friend and then move out.
Of course. I mean, it's when the tourists walk around Port Zante, I walk around Port Zante. I've never heard us stopping people from going to Port Zante.
But I want to know how she could just come and attack me and tell me about if I had to call up she and give me a liar. So I hope that she could give me a liar. I could give her 5. And she'll know the wrong side of me. Because if I work down there for 17 years and she send me home on retirement, give me my money. Give me money that I want. Working on the 17 years was not easy. You just can't come forward out to the win and just say, well, okay, because I speak out about the labor issue and everything. You say, well, look, you send me a retirement, I don't mind going home, but give me money, and I need money. I can be like Mr. Cody Snow. Give me money.
So what money are you owed, sir?
Well, I want to farm the severance money.
Severance pay?
And the holiday pay money.
Okay. Well, you can take legal action in terms of getting legal advice and rather than confronting them personally, just get legal advice. Okay?
When I come on here, I come on here with issues.
Okay.
And the next again, why the MGO or whatever you call it, the two bodies that go to the Prime Minister must have a date for election. Why don't both speak to the gentleman who have the dual place about the conduct of the Governor General? He's out of place, but the Governor General has nothing to do with it. He's doing the clean business. And he's supposed to learn to respect the Governor General. He's a time for everything. You have to stop, and you have to stop him. And then you're going to add people, and then you're going to add a station or something. They're supposed to let him no fun. You cannot interfere with the Governor General. You come and you say what you have to say, and that's it. But certain people like it. Some people don't want to hear when you have to say about the country. And you make yourself a puppy shop. He's my friend really, but when you're making yourself a puppy shop, I know how to cut you.
Okay, my brother, got you loud and clear. Thanks for your intervention.
Okay. You have a good night.
Have a good night as well. Thank you for your call tonight and highlighting the issues as you just did. Caller, you're live.
Patrick, I support the gentleman who just was talking. I could tell you something what happened to me the other day. I walked down there to my business place, opening my business place. Here's come the lady put down there, what's her name? You know what I mean? Who call in on your thing and don't calling on the wrong phone. She calling on your wrong. That if the next time I call down and she got two phones in her hand, you know. So what you tell Patches the other night when you call in on the radio, you know. So what you tell Patches? I said, look, Patches said to tell you to call on the public line, not the personal line, so everybody could hear you clear and loud. Now, as a tenant down there, she's supposed to be some CEO or what they call it, and so on, and she attacking me. Now she come right by my business looking fight with me. You understand me? So everybody down there now, everybody started to buy one to this woman. She going off for what? I said no, she in good standing. She's in good standing because she should not be there still. You understand me? And nobody making no effort to get the documents what they're looking for and get rid of her. You was part of the crime, do the time. You understand me? I don't know what kind of pull. And down there, all the workers them now paying by PEP. You understand me? So these are the things she should make sure she are taken care of instead of coming and bothering me.
Okay.
We'll talk what I talk and package like I afraid to talk and package.
Okay.
She know who she dealing with, you know.
Okay, I got you. You made your point, my dear brother.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your intervention. It's 9:41. We were imploring our listeners not to gamble with our future. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Ian Patches Liburd. Greetings to you, brother. How are you?
I'm peaceful, my brother. Greetings to you. How are you?
I'm very good. Listening to your program as usual.
Always good to hear you.
Thank you. Always listen to your program. Always.
Thank you.
Gamble with the future. And it's always good to hear that Newton businessman. And it's good to hear how we stipulate on spirituality.
Embrace
because we are living.
Yes.
Yeah, we are living in spiritual times, and we as a people living in this country must always remember God is within this struggle that we're living in today. So we always have to do what is right in His sight. Mr. Patches, this election is most serious election because it's a premature election. 2020, the elected officials before the election, they know what was in store, and they didn't express anything to the people concerning how they felt over the prime ministership. Even though you hear them talk about the agreement about a two-term for the prime minister. We all know 5 years is a term. And if we're honest with ourselves, we should ask ourselves the question, has Dr. Timothy Harris done Pam any wrong? Has Dr. Timothy Harris done any wrong with the promise that it will be to even though no legislation being passed? These are the issues with the people have to ask ourselves. Not to say you supporting Dr. Harris, but is your country that you're talking on behalf. And he's in the spotlight, so he would always get the praise. It boils down to self, because from since the dismissal of those gentlemen from office, and the first show Nevis had on the Wednesday night, I'm still trying to analyze what the evidence is towards the Prime Minister. And the only answer I come down to is about self. Because you can't tell me there is an accusation of mismanaging the country. Otherwise, ANA used to support a budget 2021. There is no scandal going on surrounding the country like we had before from the Foreign Affairs Office in the former administration. None of those things. So if none of those things regarding the country and the management of the economy is improving, then the only problem is about self. I can't look at it no other how. And that self engulfed in those members' mind to disrupt the affairs of the country. Something what could have happened dealt with in cabinet. Nothing out to reach that could not have been done in cabinet. The Premier of Nevis talk about fair share. Bring some kind of legislation, bring it to cabinet, get it to be debated. Because if you're talking about fair share, I mean, you're asking if other budgetary arrangement would still continue. If it's just a one deal, it's this thing you have to read over. It's a country. You have to balance your budget. This just cannot be a thing between the Prime Minister and the Premier. No, this is something what first time ever would happen would take place. He's talking about fair share. He never said that the Prime Minister scoffed at anything. The Prime Minister said he had organized a committee. He had bringing the bank. He scoffed at those things. He said a child, a sixth form student, a CFB student can work out a 30-70% ratio. I mean, what is that? You're talking about a country. What about the other budgetary support? What about other things? And I feel the Premier of Nevis should have focused on putting reform for Nevis in the Constitution. Just like how they get the 113 in the Constitution through certain, I think Simeon Daniel was one involved. He makes some landmarks. If you feel so aggrieved, put in the legislation. I thought he should have done that. And that's his biggest mistake in his political life. And Sean, he get the best opportunity, how they said last week. And it's true. He get the best opportunity of his political life. Deputy Prime Minister. And even though both of them gentlemen get so aroused because they have just the most seats. That's all, you know. They have the most seats. They ain't thinking about what the people put them there to do. Unite. Chop the political party mantra. Walk to your agenda and empower the people. But instead of that, Sean gets self. Get to his mind. Because he can't see the Prime Minister do anything wrong. He's the one who vows for the Prime Minister for the second term. And the second term went in the middle of the second term yet. So what could be the problem? It's about self. Harry's name calling too much. I got 3 seats. I got 4 seats. Man like that. That's all. That's the old contention between these gentlemen. It's a pity. It's a pity the country have to find himself in this premature election. And it's a way of God, because we say God in everything. So he left to the people. He have party in here with substance and some of popularity. We will see how the decision the people make. And the launch at the PLP candidates, their soul is a good decision. Young people don't be young people, but they just need guidance from experienced people. And I feel strongly they would be successful because they have the time to put out themselves to the public, and I think they will do well because they are outstanding people in the society. And Akila, she's getting more and more into herself. She sounds just like a Byron. You know, those Byron, they are very strong, determined people. Wherever they put their mind to, they're successful with it. Through all the course in history to this country. I see that from the Byrons. And the candidate for constituency 6, I will say Dr. Douglas got a challenge on his hand. So we love to see. It's interested. Very interested.
Time will tell.
You take care, Mr. Patches. You'll be good. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much for your intervention. Said quite a lot. I want to thank this caller for holding caller you live. Hello, caller.
Thank you. Good night, Mr. Patches. How are you doing?
I am peaceful. So yourself?
I am peaceful too, and also humble. As I listen,
you have your equipment on in the back row?
No, sir. Nothing at all is on.
Okay, I'm getting feedback from you. Okay, go ahead. I'm getting a feedback somehow.
As I gather all the information throughout the couple of months, I was absent in calling in until now. But there is a reason for that. I've listened to everyone comment and I analyze. But let me say this. You can't make a nice omelette with spoiled rotten eggs. And for what is going on and what is still there in the country, including all who is running for seat and power, and what they can give and what they can get out of their investment, so to speak. It is a bad thing. Bad thing. And we're going to always have these problems and these arguments because too much chaos in all these people. And they just need to go. We need a new breed of people, not the same repeatants. The country is in a chaos. Where do we go from here to straighten the country out? What would it take? People are too quick to jump to quick decision and then they make mistakes or make this decision too quick. People don't think. And that is the problem in St. Kitts and Nevis.
But caller, I'm sorry to interrupt you though, huh? I'm at variance with you that the country is in chaos because I am here in St. Kitts and the country is very, very stable, even more stable than it was 2 months ago. So I don't know what you mean by chaos.
Chaos means, look at all the discrepancy among each political leader, each ministers. They are in disarray with each other. Let's put it this way. Everything has been blown out of proportion.
The parties are the leaders of the parties, but you said the country in chaos, and I don't think I would. I hate to interrupt you, but I don't think I agree with you though.
Okay, let me correct myself. I'm not saying the country is in riot. I'm saying the parties, the political parties, and the political parties who been chosen to represent the people. So let me make that correction.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because I know there are. Thanks for that correction. Now, I believe in freedom of speech. And there is a gentleman, I will call him sir. I hope I'm not offending anyone. Mr. Carlton Dupont. And I will address him that way because that is his name. He is free to make his comment as long as he is not violating anyone's sovereignty. Okay? We must have checks and balance. We must have critique. Okay? And everyone say what they need to say. Carlton Dupont is okay to say what he needs to say. And I'm hearing people jumping over him. He is not bad as you all may think he is. He is a radicalist. He is a freedom fighter. And I am asking people to leave him alone as long as he is not violating anyone's sovereignty.
Well, respectfully though, Colin, respectfully though, I don't listen to him, and perhaps you can go on his platform and make this point. I don't want you to use this platform to talk about him, because I really don't.
No. I'm not actually using, but I am hearing other people describing him.
I didn't hear anybody talk. I didn't hear anybody talk about Carlton Dupont tonight.
Yes. They're not calling him by his name, but I don't know what they are pointed.
Well, I don't know, but let's not use this platform to speak to him.
He was not. He was not just what I call it to comment on. But like I said, I've heard a lot of about four callers calling and mention things, and I know it's pertaining to him.
He has a right. I mean, we have a fundamental protection of our rights of expression. So I agree with you with that.
Right. And
I have a right. I have a right not to listen to him. So I don't know why people listen to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know why people listen to him.
Absolutely. I agree to that.
Yes, sir.
So whenever he speaks, as long as it is permitted, that means it's okay.
Okay. Any other point?
The best thing for anyone, if they don't like it, don't listen to him.
Sure.
That's all.
Sure. That's
but moving forward from that, I really yield for other people to call in because.
Thank you very much for your
understanding.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother. Good to hear you, though.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's go back to the line. Yes, caller. Yes, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hello,
yes,
caller.
good evening. Good evening, everybody out there in Radioland, and good evening, servant leader / ambassador, previous minister Ian Patches Liburd. How are you doing tonight?
I'm peaceful. Your humble servant is peaceful. What about yourself?
I'm listening to all of this and I'm highly excited because we are getting there. And this is where we dovetail. But I have to proceed, give you a preamble, and I won't be too long, I promise you. And I quote from the good book and say, a friend loveth at all times.
True.
And the brother is born for adversity. Thank you so much for being a friend and a brother. And I want to thank the gods that day for keeping you out of this rumble. However you might feel about it now, further along, we'll understand why. Don't let anything shatter this. And we're in for a rough one.
Well,
but after all the contextual political hubbub, real friendship prevail, and within our sphere, between both of us, I see unity in diversity and diversity in unity. I don't have to think like you, to be joined with you.
Well
And
said.
you've lifted me a lot. Thank you so much for lifting my spirit and for being a breath of life. To me, God has used you in my life. Having said that, it is somewhat painful to me to admit that your unfair attempt to warp truth for political ends seems to persist. You are a most superb interlocutor. I heard you say tonight that a vote for Drew, Dr. Drew, is a vote for Dougie. And when I heard that, I said, my friend is on the warpath. This is what I love about you, because, you can take a structured sentence, as you've done so well tonight, and you can retool it and reverse engineer it to serve political ends. Are you aware that the restructured constitution of the Labour Party now has not one but two deputy leaders that Dr. Douglas would have to navigate around and downright negate before ever again becoming the leader, or in fact, an alpha male? When you have failed, you put safeguards in to protect you against that future eventuality. I don't know if you are aware of this, but you have to be infinitely more informed than I.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you, my brother, and I'm running out of time, but I'd like to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what if those two deputy leaders were never elected to Parliament?
What if those two deputy, one is already elected to Parliament?
But there's no Parliament now, but I'm talking about the next Parliament. What if both are not elected to Parliament and Douglas is?
That is a long shot. And you, hold up. And you know this, because I suppose that this is partially responsible for why you are not running over there in your district of choice.
But that may just be a strategy. That may just be a strategy.
Well, okay. However it seems, for neither one of them, and quote me on this, for neither one of them to be a factor in the next election is well nigh impossible.
Well,
because the tides have changed. And that's why when I heard you say that, I said, the man who made this statement, he couldn't have met you. But I said, you know something? He met your twin in a similar emotional political capacity when he suggested that if there wasn't a penalty for laughing in court, the jury would not hear the evidence. You are much too intelligent not to know what time it is in this country of ours. It's 6. That's the magic number. Now, as such, I'm laughing tonight to draw out. Excuse me?
I think we'll have to continue this conversation over a beverage, at your convenience. I think
at my convenience, but can I end by saying this?
Yes.
Since a man convinced against his own opinion is of the same conviction still, I find it both ironic and mystifying, and it's symptomatic of the fears that haunt you.
No,
listen, excuse me, you don't know what I'm going to say in closing.
Okay, I'm sorry. I withdraw, my friend.
Thank you so much. You don't know what I'm going to say. What am I going to say?
I don't know.
Thank you. So I just say that I find it both ironic and mystifying. And what I'm going to say right now, you're just going to chuckle in your customary style, that you should tonight be admonishing us not to gamble with the future.
That is correct. That's what I'm doing.
Now hold up. When you so unhesitatingly made the biggest gamble of all, when you took that leap in the dark to jumpstart the inauguration of, guess what? A new start for us under our first coalition government. You know what type of gamble it took? You could have ended your career. You could have, excuse me, you could have ended your career then. It was a gamble. Don't tell me you don't gamble. I was your ally. And we triumphed together by the mercies of God.
God, yes.
But
God.
as it stands now, you dare not venture to contradict me when I say that this noble experiment failed. You know it, don't you? So therefore I'm saying the only logical option under the circumstances lies in trying something new, a more viable option on the Labour Party led by somebody entirely innovative and new. His name is Dr. Drew. Again, as a friend, I implore you, get your house in order.
But
no preach for 120 years and fell on deaf ears for a friend. How dare I
but you said
ever get exhausted or tired in telling you, get your house in order.
Well, you just said our friendship is like unity in diversity. And diversity,
I know that.
Yes, but I want to just have the final word before you go, just to remind you that Dr. Joe is a proven loser.
He's a proven loser.
That's correct. But thanks for your input, and we'll connect sometime shortly, because I gave you some extra time. I love speaking with you because you educate me each time.
And likewise.
Educate me each
We'll
time.
continue this at some other time.
Yes, we will. Thanks for
May
your
God
intervention.
richly bless you.
Thanks a lot.
Why? Jesus was a proven loser too.
Okay, my brother. You had the last word.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's my dear brother. We are out of time, but I'll take two more calls. Perhaps, caller, I'll make you my penultimate call. You're live. Okay, I've missed that one. I'll perhaps take one more call before I wind down tonight's programming. I'll give you a few seconds to get in, since I lost that one. But my Stray Dog family, tonight we looked at the I'll take this and make this my final call for tonight. Call you live.
Good night, Patty. Good night.
My dear brother, politics, good night. How art thou?
Oh, not too bad. I am after night here listening to the program.
Well, you're my
live and direct. I had a little problem with my phone tonight, so I just get it straightened up. So,
okay.
You know, first I want to thank God for life, thank God for the Federation of St. Nevis, a country where I born into and living up to now, and working hard for myself and trying to help others who are there to inhabit, especially those who in the family, those who are homeless and, you know, they cannot afford it. And I try to help how I can help in any way I can do it with my hard working strength, the Father gives. That is, I hear John Long something tonight. And it come back to my mind. When the unity formed the government, when they went in from headquarters, go have some ceremony, I think something else. And then I think was some convention or something. When General made the statement said, we only after this, we didn't want something, we didn't want more unity, something or something and the other. Everything will clear. So they all plan all the time for Dr. Harris. They use Dr. Harris to get into government because they don't come into government without maybe they have somebody like Dr. Harris and come over pam and do what they do. But watch it, look what they know. Mark Brantley turn is going on them now. Mark Brantley put them back in the political wilderness. He put them back in the political wilderness because me all is throwing up a heat. More fish and all kind of thing. That is what they were trying to earn the money man all the time. If he's a captain of the cricket team and the team winning all the time. And I find that the team just fail. You know, because of certain things. And he got some of the players them just dropping the catch them. Then line the ball and go to the boundary. Me as the captain, because me make runs and doing what me could do. And some of the others them who with me playing the game. So I still all they try to some of the players them try to earn me the captain. I still making runs and I still winning the game them. So that is if them players fail, them 6 players fail, and the captain drop them. Don't you think the captain, the West Indies would have the word to pick up the captain to captain the team, continue captain the team, or whatever board? They fail to play the innings because they grudge the captain. The captain is winning the game. The captain is doing well. The captain is seeing things going all right. But they just got because they want the captain shit. And they don't know how to get it. So they're just trying to undermine the captain now to get up with the captain be. So what is his hard plan? His hard plan. And as I say, Mark Brantley ain't have no love for petition. He's a second. I listen to that man talk and he ain't love petition. He ain't love religion. He ain't have no force down here.
Loves himself.
I hear make a statement at the time when I saw some calypso culture making in Nevis, you know. I don't even know the I saw that. I hate them I saw that something. I don't even know the all I saw that this and that and there and here. And the man people from Nevis.
Okay.
You understand?
Got you, my
So
brother.
you ain't have no love for petition. And Patil, you have a wonderful night again and may God bless it and Nevis.
Thank you very much. I like your analogy tonight, my dear brother. And that's the way we're going to end it, because I'm out of time. My time is done, and I've got to run. As I said, we cannot gamble. Please, I implore you, do not gamble with our future, the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. A vote for Drew, I say respectfully, is a vote for Douglas. Before the 2020 elections, many of us did not pay serious attention to the real threat from Mark Brantley when he pompously declared in Barbados that CCM would be the kingmaker. The people in the Federation underestimated the insidious and disruptive character of Mark Brantley, who is, without a doubt, I'm sure we'll all agree, a devout secessionist. Mark Brantley as a leader is vain and bitter and acts like a little boy in a big man's trousers. This surely cannot be the kind of leadership the country needs at this time. His poor performance as Premier of Nevis cannot even balance one of 5 budgets to date. He's racked up a staggering debt in Nevis amounting to near $500 million. He has deferred the increment of his civil servants. He's cut the travel allowance of his traveling officers by 50% in these difficult times. I can go on and on. He has mashed up the Nevision economy. He has also mashed up team unity, and thus cannot be considered for leadership in these times, much less to be elected to the federal parliament. Nevis, by extension, the federation, can live in hope because there's a woman on the scene, and it is said one day a woman going to lead us. Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge seems to be balanced, seems to be focused. Sean Richards, the other leader, has failed us all. He has failed his constituency, he has failed his country. He has put himself above his country, as a matter of fact. When for months he refused to attend cabinet. The name of Sean Richards has been embroiled in rampant corruption. He still has to address his relationship with the Halley Isles and the K.I. Homes development. What does he know about that development? The Old Bay project and the lights that are gone to another project, obviously. Where are the 25 lights and the 100 bolts, which are approximately 3 feet long for the foundation, which are causing delay in completing the lighting for the Old Road Bay project? And who is accountable for the cost of that delay? Are these the same lights at the Magnolia residences and condominiums being developed by K.I. Homes? These are some of the questions that have to be asked. My straight dog family, the failure of Sean Richards to absent himself from the cabinet for months is more than enough to disqualify him from a leadership role in this country. Sean Richards will be remembered for the plethora of perceived accusations of impropriety or corruption he has not responded to, except to hold a Bible in his hand in his failed attempt to mamagai the country. Mark Brantley, has he given an account for the $400 million sent over to Nevis? We cannot vote for the gang of 6 who were rightly fired. We cannot gamble with the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. Can the country trust this secessionist Mark Brantley, who has taken the Nevis economy on the brink of collapse? My straight dog family, the 2 lawyers in PAM who are facing a criminal case of fraudulent conversion in the matter of misappropriation of $460,000 received from their client. But take the advice of the average man on the street. My people, the road ahead will be extremely difficult and will need strong, bold, decisive, tested, and mature leadership. We cannot gamble with our future. This is not the time to gamble with our future, my straight dog family. That's how I'm going to leave you tonight. That's advice. You have all agreed, and I have agreed as well. We need to embrace spirituality, as my fellow constituent said. We have to do that.
Not to gamble with St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us move forward with leadership that has worked for you. That leadership that is committed to all the people and all our residents.
Yes, I'm sure. At this critical moment in our federation's history, we cannot afford to play games. We cannot afford to gamble with our politics. This is my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I just want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you the listeners on social media, those who called, those who could not get in, I apologize for that. But those on Facebook and YouTube, and all those who sent emails, remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. Can't forget those on the big bad ZIZ radio who listen as well, all over the Federation and all over the Caribbean. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you to the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Monday.